Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. Thank you very, very much for being here. This again is a sort of surprise Monday visit, but it's been kind of an interesting few days. Um, Trump had his whatever that was in Montana, um, and then he proceeded to get trolled for all the empty seats in the stadium. Um, he once again talked about Hannibal Lecter, but this is the thing. I actually think he thinks he's real. Because, let's face it, if you're in a movie, if you're in a reality TV show, well, he would identify that as real because he knows he's real. Um, but yeah, according to Trump, Hannibal Lecter votes for him. And so that's why he likes him. And that's why he's going to keep on talking about him. Anybody know where the restraints are? Okay. So I want to do a bit of a dive into what's going on with him because, it's very easy to sort of look at the surface energy and go, he's angry, he's mad, he's yelling, he's screaming. But I'm actually getting, frankly, a little concerned about his cognitive ability. So I want to see if I can get a little bit deeper and get some clarity on what's actually kind of going on with him. So that's what we're going to do. This, of course, is going to be a channeled reading. Now, before I get to it, first of all, thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to spend a little bit of your precious time with me. I very much appreciate it. Now, I'm going to be putting a link below in that description box thing. Um, and it is for a video by Kathy Biehl, who regular viewers of this channel know she's like my go-to astrologer because she makes it simple and she tells me what's going to happen as a result of the square or the trine or the whatever, as opposed to going on and on about placements that I don't understand. Um, I'm going to put, as I said, a link. She released a video, I believe, on Sunday, called Engines of Change with Kathy Biehl. And she could dip up that title a little bit because what it is sort of a bit of an in-depth look at the four main players. So, Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, Trump, and JD Vance. She started off looking at the 19th of August, which we know is the start of the convention. There's been a lot of talk about how it's kind of, there's like some really crazy energy going on there. So she goes through that, but then there is also, and then she goes sort of through all four charts in a little bit broader way. And then she's comparing them, right? So this is in this chart. How is that impacting this one over here? So really, really interesting. So I encourage you to take a peek at it. Okay. By the way, her YouTube channel, if you're looking for it, is called Professional Aquarian. All right. Spirit, I want to find out what I can about how Donald Trump is doing and his energy, what's going on with him. Okay, so um, you notice this at his rallies. Um, and I guess if you were at Mar-a-Lago, you would probably see it more frequently. But what I'm being shown is that he is very, very low on just basic life force energy. He wakes up, he's exhausted, he goes to sleep, he's exhausted. He, plays a round of golf, he's exhausted. Everything is draining him, which I think is part of the reason. There's a bunch of reasons why he's not doing rallies. One is he actually doesn't have the stamina to do it. Two, he doesn't have the resources. I heard on one of the YouTube channels, I'm sure it was right, that part of the reason that Trump's plane had to land where it landed was because he owes the airport money from the last time he landed his plane in whatever that airport was, and he still owes the convention center or the arena, whatever it was, money, I guess, from the last time. So he doesn't have the resources, tangible money resources. He has been completely discombobulated. It's the only word that comes close, by the fact that Joe has left the race, right? I mean, it was as if somebody snatched that great big shiny toy away from him in the last minute. And it threw him into the absolute tailspin, and he can't get his head straight, which is part of the reason he keeps going on and on and on about Joe, and the reason he's concocted this ridiculous fantasy about Joe showing up at the DNC convention, and he's going to demand that he be put back in the race so that Trump can then again, be going up against him. Like, really, really unhinged, like has lost touch with reality. Okay. The Hannibal Lecter thing is concerning. Joe demanding to, be re-entered into the nomination race is insane. It just doesn't make sense. What's happening is, Kamala Harris and Tim Walsh are very, very good at sort of slapping back at him. Well, listen, this is a guy who hasn't been slapped back his whole life, but for sure in the political arena, right? Because somebody tried to say something, he slapped back and they went silent, they froze. Well, these two ain't freezing, they're like zipping around on the skating rink, okay? And so he's having a very difficult time, like ego, right? This is about his ego. His ego can't understand why the process that always worked isn't working for him. What the heck is going on that these people aren't retreating the way everybody else did? And so he's having a hard time actually being able to understand or process literal events that are happening because they don't make sense to him in his brain. He There is like a physical slowing down, right? I mean, I'm sitting in that energy and like, I just, I want to go have a nap. Um, it's very slow, and normally his energy is like static, but it's very slow. His words are slowed down, in part because his thought processes have slowed down, and he's grasping for words or ideas. He doesn't understand why, when he didn't know the answer, but he threw out a word salad for 3.5 minutes, everybody just accepted it. And now they're saying, well, he didn't answer the question. And like, again, he's just not used to pushback. And I'm being told that as we move forward, you're going to see the main media, all right, so MSNBC, whoever, CNN, starting to really push back against the lies and the mistruth, and frankly, continuing to expose sort of the real craziness. And he's again, he's not going to be able to process that or deal with that because he's simply not used to somebody telling him, no, can't do that. He's very frustrated that his team can't figure out how to almost push back against the pushback that they're getting from the Dems. And of course, now that Kamala and Tim have done it, make no mistake, whole bunch of other Democrats are going to start jumping on that same bandwagon if they haven't already, because they've now found the chink in his armor. right? They have now found that weak spot, and it's that if he pushes back and you come at him, he freezes. It's bully behavior, right? They're all tough until somebody gets in their face and says, "Stop it." And then they don't have like a way to assimilate that, and they don't have a way to push back against that, and so they become deflated. All right. Um, there's a lot of tension between JD Vance and him. He feels almost like he was tricked into naming this guy. And so sort of, should it come to it, he's really not going to try to defend him very robustly. So you've got those kinds of energies just swirling around him now, aside from sort of the shock and awe that's going on in his brain because somebody's actually slapping back. Now he's got all of this legal stuff that's going on. And as Kamala becomes more and more popular, as the polls show that she's getting ahead of him, he's going to become more and more like cognizant and frightened about the legal situations he's in, because for a while there, he was feeling pretty cocky about it because his lawyers were delaying, and then he was going to take the presidency because Joe Biden, there's no way he couldn't win against old Joe. And then all of it would go away. And all of a sudden he's like, holy crap, this stuff could very well not go away. And, we've dragged it out so much that in some cases, in fact, in most cases, or all cases, the actual court cases, the whole thing moving forward is going to take place after the election, and he's very mindful of the fact that he is not going to have the support of the MAGAs. They're not going to turn out for him. They're not going to picket the law courts building. And so he's really starting to grapple with the thought that he actually may really end up in jail. He is also very, very aware of feeling diminished. And we know that this is not something his ego can handle, right? He doesn't like it when he's made fun of. He doesn't like it when he feels that he is being belittled. And that is just amplifying the anxiety and the worry and the feelings of being scared. And so it's sort of like he looks this way and there's legal trouble, and he looks this way and there is campaign trouble. And when he looks ahead, I have to tell you, it's blurry. You know what? It's like they're showing me what happens if you would smear Vaseline on glass, and you can see, but you really can't. That seems to be what is going on when he looks straight ahead. So he looks at the two things that cause him stress and anxiety and worry. He tries to reposition himself. He looks straight ahead, and now he's really concerned because on some level he is recognizing that things aren't clicking the way they used to click. And he has like it's just like terror that he is going to end up the way his father did. And so what happens as he's starting to see signs that he's just mentally not in great shape. This, of course, is for entertainment purposes only. It's like it's triggering that fear And because he's a bully and the only way he knows how to deal with things is to shove back, so what he's doing is internally there is the, grappling for words or ideas or trying to get things clear. And then he goes, wow, old Donny boy, you're not clicking very fast. And then what happens is immediately this other, I don't know the angel, the devil, but another part of his brain is saying, you're fine. Don't you dare listen to that. You are in pop form. You always have been and you always will be. And so he's constantly in this push and pull over his own mental health and his own emotional responses. So what can we determine or see about as things move forward? What's it going to be like by the end of August or September? Um, so first thing they're saying is, listen, if at any point he actually tries to leave the country, it will not be until either right after the election. No, it will be after the inauguration or right before or right after, like in those first, I don't know, like 10 days of January. He's going to try to play the same old playbook after the election, right? It was stolen from me, it was rigged. And I want you to know that he's not going to be able to gain the momentum and the support. Also, it's not as if I don't know, Homeland Security, whoever it is living in a bubble. They are well aware of what's going on at various, voting centers around the world. And they're quite aware of what kind of people have been put in place. And things are being monitored. Things are being, there's like walls or defenses that are going up into equipment, etc., to prevent any sort of almost like questioning of the tallies and the numbers. Now, some of these people are, the fear is that they just won't certify the election. I have news for you, they're going to. The only one that actually may give us trouble is Georgia, because they created some brand new law that basically said anybody can kind of just say, I don't believe the results, and it sort of throws a wrench into the whole thing. But generally speaking, this is not going to be a problem, and even Georgia will be, they're saying straightened out before the I've forgotten it. Where they go in and vote, they do the voting, and they're certifying the election in the House. Okay, they're saying it's going to be straightened out by then. He really doesn't have kind of any real depth of emotional responses. But there are some people in his circle that he maybe has, I don't know, a little bit more tolerance or, dare I say, affection for. Now, make no mistake, it's based on how they make him feel or what they do for him. And this is another place where he's having trouble understanding why he's not even getting the kind of support that he typically would get from them. I'm talking about Melania. I'm talking about Ivanka. They're not there, patting his shoulder and saying, they're there, it's going to be fine. And so he's starting to feel even more and more isolated than he has been. And he's been feeling very isolated for a while because he's like, even in a group of people, so even when his people are around him, he's not zeroing in on the conversations. He's not understanding everything that's being said. And so when that happens, what you do is you pull back from the conversation. And as soon as you mentally pull back, you've now separated yourself from whoever else is in the room. And that seems to be the pattern that's going on with him. So, is Donald Trump going to win the election? Absolutely not. Is Donald Trump still going to be around when people are voting? Possibly. Probably. Okay. Between now and then, I am being told that, and I did mention this, I think, in the video I did for, the month of August. But there are going to be a couple of public displays that really take, or that really, really sharpen the focus on exactly how he is doing cognitively, mentally, emotionally. And it's going to be very, very hard for them to turn the page on that, because whatever this is, it really is going to be public, like at one of his rallies. And I can see one of them, I can actually see him getting really, one of them, it looks like he's just like completely like infused, right? Like introducing people on the stage who aren't there. Maybe Hannibal Lecter. And the other one feels a lot more volatile. It feels like he's going to get frustrated by something, and really angry. And there's going to sort of be that sort of raging, again, that goes on in public. And because he is what he is, they're not going to be able to write him off the stage fast enough. So I guess we'll see how close to accurate things are as time moves forward. The rest of August really does look like it's going to be very, very interesting. And make no mistake, September and October are going to be crazy, because all the people who have not been paying attention are going to start paying attention. And so you're going to have even more of this energy, and energy of people going, what the hell has been going on while I was busy kind of living my life? And why is this happening? And why is that happening? And so there's a lot of kind of almost like new energy flooding into the whole election cycle as we go through September and October. And Kamala is going to continue to go from strength to strength, and he is going to go from weakness to weakness. And the worse it gets, the worse he gets. All right. I think that's all I know for right now. Thank you very, very much for being here. Don't forget to check out Kathy's video. And until next time, take care and be well. Bye-bye.